So Microsoft Excel in your suite of programs looks like a little green icon, and if you don't have it in your dock already, you would click on your Finder, and then you would click on Applications. You would then scroll down to Microsoft Excel, and you would drag that icon down to your dock and place it where you think is most effective.
Oh.
I was going to take it.
And then when you click on the little X, it does the little dancey thing there, and you're presented with blank workbook. You're familiar with templates now, aren't you? What do templates do? Pre-formatted, pre-designed tools that you can use when you're in a crunch. And you also have them with Excel. But we are going to do a blank workbook. So when you click on the blank workbook and then click Create, you're presented with the opening screen, the opening workbook. And we're going to look at what the different components are. But what we'll be looking at today are how to navigate a workbook, entering labels and values, working with rows and columns, and the beginnings of working with formulas. So some of the components that we would look at to begin with, and I'm going to dim the lights just a little bit, so you might be able to see them just a little bit more clearly. And then once we are done with class, I'll bring the lights back up again. Or once we're done with this part of the lecture. That, as in all of the other components of the Microsoft suite of programs, whether they be Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, it also has the menu bar that resides along the top. All right, that's what we would call the menu bar. You also have below it the standard toolbar, into which we also see the various tabs, which, just like Microsoft Word, when we click them, present us with different sets of options. Some of those options being font, for example, font size, color, and the like. But the different tools that are available, such as conditional formatting or format as a table or cell styles, are different than you would see in Microsoft Word or in PowerPoint. We then also have what's called the name box in the upper left, where you see that A1. And that name box is like an identifier. And if you look at A1 as it reads, I want you to observe what occurs when I move this green box to a different part of the location, or the spreadsheet. You'll note when I move to C4, A1 has turned into C4. If I move to B7, you'll see that B7. All right, so these are identifiers. So this little green box also is what we would call the active cell. So everywhere that active cell is, the name box gives you the coordinates. The coordinates, the letter being a column. Columns, once again, run up and down the page, and then a row with a number. Rows run horizontally back and forth across the page. So if I'm at C4, I'm at column C, row 4. We also have a formula bar. This is where the real magic occurs in Microsoft Excel. And next week, by the end of our final project for Excel, if indeed we do finish it, it will be a little way to help you calculate how much you should be setting aside every time you make a sale in art, so that you aren't left on April 15th owing the feds, $15,000 that you spent on comic books and video games and the like off of your art sale proceeds. We also have an area down below. The little plus sign is where we'd be inserting another sheet. So right now we have sheet 1. If I were to click that, it creates another sheet that's known as sheet 2. And I can change the value on that if I want. So I can actually rename it. So instead of sheet 2, I could call it Gollum.
Where did you go with the sheet?
I clicked on the plus. So where it said sheet 1, or in this case if I'm at Gollum, if I click the little plus sign, it adds another one. Alright, so if I then right click on that, and I could rename it, and I'll call this one Thorin.
I can't see where you're clicking.
I'm clicking in the lower right. I'm sorry, the lower left, I'm clicking a little plus
I see.
icon.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and then I right click on the new sheet that's been created. And if I don't want that sheet, once it's there, if I right click, I can click delete, and it's gone. I can right click again, delete, and it's gone, and I'm back to just sheet 1. Now what I'm going to have you do is that each of these cells can be altered in various ways. We can enter letter or alphabetical data into the cell. We can enter numeric data into the cell, or what we would call alphanumeric data into the cell. The stuff that we can do the most with would be the numeric. However, there are different operations we can do with alphabetical too. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, you'll note as you mouse over cell A1, I want you all to do that, you'll see the little crosshairs look like a white cross. As I move the cursor with the left mouse key held down, I now have highlighted cells A1 to I1. I want you to do that. And then you'll see the little tool there that reads Merge and Center. What that is going to do when you click it, it's going to turn all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those cells into one cell. You'll note that now all of the divider lines in that cell are gone. Were you all able to get that to occur? Now, when I click into that, I want you to type your name. So my name is Stephen. In class, assignment. And because you merged and centered, all the cells have been turned into one long cell, and then the text that you entered in there has become centered within that cell. Now what you're going to do is you're going to File, Save, and you're going to call it whatever your name is and save it to your desktop. Stevens, or whatever your name is, in class, Excel, assignment. And you'll note that it'll save it as a workbook. But in the same way that you can have a template in Microsoft Word, you can do the same thing with Excel if you're going to be using this for a number of different functions. But just leave it as a workbook right now, and then you're going to save. So we've all got it saved as whatever your name is, in class, Excel, assignment. What you're going to do now is you'll note if you mouse over the lower dividing line of that whole cell that's now just with your title in it, I could, if it turns into a little hand, change where that title goes. So it used to be in the first row. I've now moved it to the fourth row. I could move it back too. Once again, it turns into a little hand. I hold the hand down and I could drag it anywhere I want, and it will move that label or title. Now suppose I get it down there, and I want to undo what I did. What's the 2-keystroke command that is undo?
Control Z.
Command Z. What you're going to do now is you're going to highlight cell B2 all the way over to I2.
You mean A2?
I'm sorry, A2, thank you. A2 all the way to I2. And you'll click Merge and Center again. And you're going to type in today's date, which is October 10. Is it the 10th?
Yes.
Okay, you scared me there when you said the 16th. That's my sister's birthday. And save.
Did it turn into a 10 oct?
Did it turn into a 10 oct 16?
Yeah.
That is because it will format it for you. You can actually change that formatting, but I'm not going to do that yet. Because you can change the way that dates are displayed, the way that numbers or percentiles or currency is displayed, but we're not going to mess with that right now. We are going to perform the same thing again, and only this time we're going to go down to cell A4. We're going to drag it all the way over to I4. We're going to merge and center, and we're going to call it My Budget, spelled B-U-D-G-E-T. You'll do the same thing again in row 5. Merge and center. And then the text you'll enter will be January through March 2016. So you should have 4 lines of text at this point. You all have 4 lines of text. Save it. You're going to go down to A7 and you're going to merge cells A7 through E7. I'm sorry, C7. This time, though, if you click the drop down, instead of merge and center, you're going to click merge cells. So now, when you click in there and enter text, you're going to type my monthly income. And you'll note that it stayed left justified inside of those cells. And then directly under the January through March 2016, in row 7, you'll click cell E7, and you're going to enter the following number. 2,500.00. Now there are several different ways to move around the spreadsheet. You can do it by mouse clicking, You can do it by hitting the tab key or the up-down arrows. Okay, so let's get back to the $2,500 because we want it to be currency. Because it's my monthly income and we want it to be currency. So with that number highlighted, if we go over to the $ accounting number format and we click a drop down, if we go English, United States, you'll note now that it inserts a $ in front of 2,500.
Where were you?
Okay, I've got the 2,500 highlighted, and then if I go to the $, what you're going to do next? At row D9, you're going to type in January.
We have the American Center.
No. And then if you hit the tab key, it'll move to E9, after which you will type February. After which you will hit the tab key and you will type March. Hitting the tab key once again, you'll type totals. If you move down now to cell A10, you're going to type rent at A10. You're going to hit the down arrow, and then you'll type car payment and insurance. And then you'll hit the down arrow again, and you'll type entertainment. Entertainment. Down arrow again, I can see you're being entertained down there. You'll click credit card payments. Down arrow one more time. Click or type food. Down arrow one more time. Total expenses.
Expensive.
You'll go down to cell A17, and you will type in average monthly expenses. You'll hit the down arrow 2 times, and you'll type my income for the quarter, Cuarter, and you're going to save. You'll hit the down arrow 2 more times, and you're going to type balance, B-A-L-A-N-C-E. And you'll save. So we've entered alphabetical data and then numerical data so far. We're now going to go back to numerical data. And if you click into cell D10, which will be exactly underneath January, you're going to type in the number 600. You'll hit the down arrow and you'll type in 30. You'll hit the down arrow and type in 500. You'll hit the down arrow, type in 75. The down arrow, 112. You'll then place the cursor in cell E10 and you'll type in 600. You'll hit the down arrow, type in 55. Entertainment, you'll type in 666. Credit card payments, 333. Food, 170. And then you'll save. Now I'm going to show you something here, which is a way to copy information from one cell to another. If you take the cursor and you mouse it over the little green box at the lower right side of the green cell indicator, it will turn into a little black crosshair. If you hold the left mouse key down and you drag it over one cell, were you all able to get the 600 to reproduce itself?
Yes.
You'll then click into cell F11 and you'll type 65. Entertainment. Zero. Credit card payments, 90. Food, 375. And then you're going to save. Now we're going to do some functions using the function builder. So if I look right now, for example, a very simple one that we could do, my income for the quarter. Do you all see that? Okay, first, you'll note if I have the black crosshairs, it reproduced my income for the quarter more times than I want to shake a stick at. So I go Command Z and instead get the white crosshair until I have enough cells highlighted and I merge and center. I'm not merge and center, but merge cells. So that in cell D19 now, so I've clicked into D19. D19 is highlighted here, and I'm now going to do a function or a formula.
Could you make that a little bit bigger? Make that up there just a little bit bigger?
Let me try that. Give me just a second here whilst I perform some digimancy.
That's even a little, that's fabulous.
How be this?
That's great.
Okay? So now I've got D19 highlighted, and I'm going to click up into the FX box. We all there?
Yes.
If I go equals, now I can directly take this cell, because that is my monthly income. So my monthly income for the quarter is going to be 3 times that. Are you with me so far? Okay, so if I click the equals, and I'm going to click, are you all familiar with mathematical operations and orders of operation? I know I'm taking you back to stuff that gave me hives, like using parentheses. I told you, there's only one thing you're going to hate more than Excel. It's me and Excel. All right. You're going to do the left parenthesis.
The sad face.
Yep. Equals. And then if you click on the 2500, you'll note that it automatically inserts E7's value up here as an identifier. And then, yours didn't do it?
So I'm gonna hit equals.
Equals, and then left parenthesis,
Yes,
and then you will click cell E7.
okay.
Did it show a little blue E7 upstairs? Okay? And then, you've all used calculators before, right?
Little.
A little bit? All right, and what sign on a calculator is multiplication? Asterisk. 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 Asparagus. The star. All right, so you're going to hit the star.
Thanks.
And then if you click 3, or type 3, and then close with a right parenthesis, and then hit return. Wham! I know it's too much to take in one night. Hide your valuables, lock your refrigerators. The Crisco kid's back.
The wet bandits are back.
You just created your first, possibly Excel function, which was a very simple multiplication. 3 times that number, which was 2,500. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a sum total for rent. So if you look on the totals at G9 and you click then down to G10, what we're going to do is if we not with it in cell G10, if I move over to the E in the upper right, which means sum, and I click sum, observe what happens. It inserts a function D10 colon F10. What it's telling Excel to do with that colon is to add cell D10, E10, and F10. So the colon means take everything between this one cell all the way over to the other and perform that operation. And sum means to add. So once I've done that, once I hit return,
Hope.
wham! All right? So how do you think you would do the car payment total?
Same way.
Same way.
Click on.
So if you're down on G11 and you click sum,
Oh,
whoops, hold on a second here.
did it wrong. It went all the way. It went right to.
1800.
Yeah, it went back to 1800. I don't think that's right.
It's not right. So what do you think the problem is?
If you highlight, you go back and highlight the 3.
Ah, grasshopper. All right, so instead what you would do, because what this is trying to do is operations on a different cell when you're going underneath. When you have columns and rows of numbers next to each other, you need to be aware of how you are doing your sum totals. So I'm going to hit escape. And instead, if I were to highlight with the white crosshair, D11, E11, and F11, and then when I click the sum, automatically in G11, it will insert the sum. And if you got your calculators with it, you'll see that indeed, the car payment insurance for the quarter is $150. So we will do the same thing now for entertainment. So with the white crosshairs, I move it all the way over to from D12 to F12. And then when I click sum, I do the same thing in the row beneath. Sum. The same thing in the row beneath. Sum. Are we all there? Save it before it gets away. What we're going to do for total expenses, this is where it will behave slightly different, because if I now click on cell D15 and I click sum, it'll do T10 through D14.
We don't have to highlight them?
Not when it's a column.
Okay.
I do the same thing. It'll be E10 through E14.
That's cool.
I'll do the same. And you'll note that it doesn't try to add in the letters March, because you can't add letters. Although in Excel you could assign a letter a variable number and then do operations with it if you wanted to. But that would be too vulgar a display of power. All right, then you'll do the same thing for March. Are y'all there?
Yeah.
You're going to file, save. Now we want to get average monthly expenses. In other words, what on average are we spending per month? Which means that we have to add the expenses of January, February, and March. Are you with me so far? So what we're going to do first if I were to click into average monthly expenses and I click into cell D17, and then I'm going to click up into the formula bar if I type equals to let the formula bar know that a formula is coming, and then if I type A, it will give me a list of things that begin with A. So if I click on average, it will give me the right and left parentheses already. Are y'all there?
Yeah.
And I'm doing this from D15 to F15. So if I now type D15, and what is the next identifier I would put in there? Colon to F15. And I hit return.
So, D15 and what are we putting?
It's
D15 and F15?
D15 colon F15. Are we all there so far? Save.
No.
Now what we're going to do is, because we want these all represented as dollar signs, because we're greedy. So we're going to highlight all the way down from D10 to G21, and where we see the currency again, we want it to be dollar signs English.
Come on, man.
D10 all the way down to G21, and then when we hit the dollar sign up top, you should all see currency right now. Are y'all there?
How did you get, okay, hang on. I'm going ahead and wait. How did you get the totals for February and March?
Are you talking about
I
totals?
mean, your, oh no, I see what, never mind, I'm not as far behind as I thought I was. Okay,
Okay,
let's do this.
now,
Hey, why don't mine have money signs in them?
because you need to highlight first
Okay,
with the white crosshairs,
yes,
and then go up to
money.
the money and show me the money.
Show me the money.
Okay? Let's try something here and let's see what it says if it's euros.
Ooh. Ugly.
Wow.
It looks ugly, but boy, you'd want that over dollars, because the euro is stronger in the currency market. However, I'm going to Command Z that, so I'm back to dollar signs. Now we want to know what the balance is at the end of 3 months. So if we know my income is $7,500, there are a couple of ways I could create the balance. One of them would be first to know what my total expenses are. Are you with me so far? And what I want to do is I'm going to click on the row total expenses. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click insert. So I have a little bit of space in between my items and then my totals there. Are you with me so far? And then now with the cell G16 highlighted, if I click sum, it'll be D16, E16, F16, and I hit return. And I know my total expenses are $4,271. Are y'all there so far?
No. Okay, how did you get there?
I clicked into cell G16,
Uh-huh.
and then I clicked in sum.
I've lost a row that I had before, but,
That's all right.
okay.
And save. So to know the balance at the end of 3 months, if my income is $7,500 and I've spent $4,271 to create the balance, in other words, how much money do I have left in my account after 3 months if I click now in cell D22? And then I click up in the formula builder. And how do I let the formula builder know that a formula is coming down the pike? Equals. Gosh, you guys are good. You're scaring me. Now you might think that you'd want to do something like says sub. Not going to work. You actually have to kind of invert your thinking here, because you're instead going to still do sum. So click sum, type sum, S-U-M, and then you're going to hit the left parenthesis, and you would type in, and then you could click on my income, and it inserts D20, which is my income. And then you click on 4271, which is total expense. Oh, sorry. Give me a second here. I screwed up. You got to hit first the D20, and then up in the formula builder, if you click minus, and then G16, and then close the parenthesis, and now when I hit return, I know this is too much excitement for one night. So what I'm going to do is have you save the worksheet. You're going to save. Some of you, I know we're going to have to pull out the defibrillator, because you're already going into coronary arrest. Or as Queen would say, sheer heart attack. If I am now down, we'll say, I'm going to put myself at D25. And then if I click on Insert in the standard tools, and I look at Recommended Charts, which has a number of drop-downs, I could represent this data graphically in different ways. It should show the pie, such as this, with the numbers. If I do this, I always like the 3D pie. Viva Las Vegas! Try that one. Oh, you go! Oh, you are my hero, Alexis. I am not worthy. I am not worthy.
But then I go to the chart design up top and select another one, and it'll have the percentages.
Whole ass. Like,
Yeah, each of those give you different labels. Okay? I mean, I know this is way too much excitement for one night, because I know you're all going to go home right now.
I'm gonna create a table.
And you're going to put a table, yeah, just on how many tables you can create. I know it's too much excitement for one night, so go ahead, take a break.